Greetings, YouTube. Everyone loves horror games. But sometimes you want a little scare that doesn't take 20 hours to finish. Looking at you, Alien Isolation. Why are you so goddamn long? Well, fear not. My name is Evening, and I'm here to give you just that. A short horror game that will chill you to the bone. Once again, it's a point-and-click game. Let me introduce you to a free Steam game called Shiver. Once again, spoilers galore. You have been warned. This little indie gem was made by a studio called Kawaii Sugoi Studios, which closed down a few years after releasing Shiver, which is their only game. The story sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Well, without further ado, let's dive into its little bite-sized scare. The game begins with us driving carelessly in a snowstorm. Our destination? To visit our aging father, who lives in a remote retirement home. With some banging tunes playing in the background, we decide to light up a cigarette. What's the worst that can happen? And then, the worst does happen. We wake up upside down in our wrecked car, our arm broken. Using a rock that has magically appeared in the car, we break free and start looking for help. First of all, we find a newspaper clipping warning us of a blizzard. This probably has the blurriest text I've ever seen. Ahead of us is a fork in the road. If you take the right path, we can get to the shit house. Well, nice. Then we can go up the highway where our big Humpty Dumpty tumble happened. Nothing to see here, really. If we take the left path at the fork, though, we'll end up going deeper into the forest. We are stranded in the Windy Oaks National Park. That must mean there are people around. On the right, we can see the visitor center, but if you go left, according to the sign, a mine awaits us. And in front of us is a tree with a very nice scrap of cloth maybe? Anyway, enough admiring the tree. Let's try to find shelter and help. Of course it's locked. If we go around the building, we find a hatchet. Nice! Finally, a weapon. And if we open the generator real quick, we can also take the rubber hose. Now that we got the hatchet, let's go back to that dapper looking tree we saw. As this is the first puzzle in the game, let me explain how the hints work. Our playable character is a smoker. That's kinda why you are in this situation. Well, when you decide to have a smoke, you get a little reminder of what you have to do next, which is like a hint. It doesn't always tell you exactly what to do, but it does point you in the right direction. Love a very grounded way of giving hints like this. Reminds me of how the grandfather clock in Scratches acted as a progress bar. Anyway, back to the puzzle. After a close look, we see that it's actually a scrap of coat. We seal the key in the pocket and unlock the visitor center. Hopefully, we won't get in too much trouble. On the reception table, we find an empty water bottle, score, and a book with some torn pages. On the counter, we see a taped note.
Josh, I need you to call me as soon as you find this note. I don't know what kind of prank you're trying to pull, but you can't just disappear with 2 guests in the mine. The police have been contacted and they want to start a proper investigation when the storm dies down. This is a very serious situation, so please, contact me at once and I'll be over to sort everything out. You can call me using the radio in the back room. I know you have Samantha's card to get in. When you do that, I'll be over within minutes. Ow.
Well, I guess we found our way out. A radio room. Let's try and get help. Going deeper, we find an electronically locked door, a vending machine, a microwave just begging to be turned on, an abstract piece of art, and a bottle of vodka. Let's take the alcohol. Surely it'll prove useful. What in the HE double hockey sticks was that? Did a bird fly in or something? Oh, it's a rock. The one from my car? Who could have thrown it? And whose footprints are these? I guess we are not alone here. And whoever is here doesn't want any company. Now that we got a rubber hose and our water bottle, let's go get some gas for the engine and maybe we can unlock the door. Let's go back to our car and siphon some gas out of it. And now we have a bottle full of gas. Well, in the worst case scenario, we got a homemade very, very, very powerful Molotov cocktail, I think. Well, it's probably more like a bomb, but who cares about the little details? With our mini nuke in hand, let's fill up the generator and get the lights working. Well, it looks like we need a keycard to get in. And we do know that a certain Josh has a keycard in his possession and was last seen in the mines. I think I know our next destination. That is one big scary tree. And are those iron bars inside a hill? Does that tree have a prison underneath it? If someone really liked Whomping Willow, I guess. Moving on, we find an entrance to the mine. Bleak Flats Mine, with a cute little mole mascot. Very inviting. Inside's an elevator, which we got working by turning on the generator. Also, there's a note.
Al, I'm sorry to let you know like this, but I'm done. I'm going home and I'm not coming back. I gave my keycard to Josh to look after. I can't keep going into that mine. It's seriously freaking me out. The darkness and the sounds, they honestly make me wonder if something's down there. That combined with all the stories Josh keeps telling me about the miners that weren't found during the sinkhole disaster, it's more than I can handle. So here's my notice of resignation. Samantha.
Time to go into the mine and find that keycard. With the things we find here and our stolen vodka, we make a lantern and go down. So, cool thing. Wherever we move the mouse cursor now, there's a little light around it. Very creepy and very atmospheric. You can see that the button to go back up is broken. I guess we'll have to find another way to leave. Going deep into the mine, we quickly snag a soda can, and we find a locked door with a wall next to it that looks like an entrance to Diagon Alley, and what I presume is a break room. Hard to tell what it is supposed to be, really. Oh look, the mascot is here too. We take our hatchet and decapitate the mole. Sorry, my intrusive thoughts got the better of me. Let's rewind. Where were we? Alright. There's a coffee grinder, an informational sign. On it, we see a map. And a recipe for thermite. Thermite? Really? We're making thermite. Oh, before we start cooking, I didn't notice that screwdriver before. Let's just grab it. Surely that was just the wind, right? Or a big rat? Let's grind our aluminium can into dust and scrub off some of the rust. And just like that, we have made thermite. Seems a bit too easy. Before we leave, memorize that map we saw. We will need it, I assure you. And now back to the lock. Pour some of our fire dust on it and light it up. Now, with a little swing of the hatchet, we are in. What lies before us is a cave system that is more like a maze, really. You better remember the map I mentioned, because if you make a single mistake, you are back to square one. Trypophobia warning. After our little journey, we arrive at a clearing. The sinkhole. Its walls are filled with holes, and they strike me with a feeling of a nest. Like something was born here. Could it be the thing that's following us? Grab a pickaxe. You never know when you might need one. We enter a dark, glowing room. Walls are filled with holes, bleeding, pulsating. Some chunks of the wall are missing. The room shakes as the vibrating sounds fill our ears. In the middle, a mound of ripped flesh awaits. Looking at how the flesh sits, it looks like something came out of it. It is also filled with what I assume are visitor rests. It had a feast. We quickly grab the keycard sticking out of a jacket. Josh's. I wonder if he was part of the Screech's breakfast, or maybe the hole belongs to whatever he is now? Let's leave this cave. Well, now, it's more than a cave. It's a graveyard. We turn around and quickly walk back. What is this? All of this seems new. We lost? It's almost as if the labyrinth of the cave has expanded, changed. After running around blindly, we make it out. But the lift is still broken, so how do we escape? With the pickaxe we just acquired, we break through the wall and start crawling. As we crawl through the hole, it gets more red, more foggy. Right after seeing that cave, thoughts of birth fill our minds, and this cave reinforces it. We end up near some iron bars. Using the screwdriver, we quickly escape. As we escape the hole, we have been reborn with new knowledge and new motivation to escape. We gotta hurry. It's gotten dark. How long were we in the mine? We quickly run to the building. We see that the locked door is now illuminated. All we have to do is swipe our card and we are in. But first, why is this painting torn? What's underneath it? And of course, underneath this interesting work of art hides Goya. It's always him. So if you like horror games or horror media in general, you have probably seen this painting a million times. I mean, I know why. Just look at it. It's so terrifying. Satan Devouring His Son is the title of this piece. Well, at least that's the title given to it after it was discovered, because the author, Francesco Goya, never gave it a title. It was left untitled, as it was not something meant for the eyes of the outsiders. It was a piece for Goya alone. I have to be crystal clear with everyone. This is my favorite painting ever, which is why we are about to go on a little tangent. Fasten your seatbelts. I'm not going to go into details about Francesco Goya or his art history, as this is still a video on a silly horror game, but I just want to give you some information about him and the iconic black paintings, especially Satan Devouring His Son, or my interpretation of the painting. I feel like, for the amount of times we are exposed to his art everywhere, we should at least know something about it, even if it's a very simple, basic information. For a more in-depth look, check out Blind Dwellers or Great Art Explains, amazing videos on the subject. This terrifying piece is part of a set called The 14 Black Paintings. They are all equally terrifying in their own way. They were all painted, not on canvases, but on the walls of the house where Goya lived towards the end of his life. The house was known as the Quinta del Sordo, Deaf Man's Villa, named after the previous owner who had gone deaf. Interestingly enough, Goya was also suffering from deafness at the time, which affected his psyche and made him feel isolated from society. That and also his political views, as he felt the world was going backwards, back to violence and unruly times, as Spain lived through the restoration of its monarchy. He was a man who saw war, death, horror, and the darkness of humanity, and he feared that the times would return. Goya was a very aware person. He understood how the politics of Spain worked, as he worked as a court painter. In the beginning, his art was a lot brighter, a lot more hopeful. But after suffering from a disease that left him deaf, he changed. His art took a darker turn. At the same time, war broke out. During the Peninsular War, he painted pieces that showed the horrors and despairs of war. These pieces, such as the 2nd of May 1808, radiate the fear, despair, and horror from the eyes of its subjects. They're reminiscent of the black paintings that shall be painted in the future. As Goya's health deteriorated, his mind followed suit. Following the return to the monarchy, the famous court painter withdrew from the public. As Goya got worse, his mind slipped more. He isolated himself in his villa. There, he painted these dark paintings straight on the walls of his house. All of them, reflecting the society, the dark, horrible world we live in. His views, his fears of old age, madness, and death. The most famous of these paintings is, of course, the aforementioned Satan Devouring His Son. But we shouldn't forget the others. The Dog, Two Old Men, Men of Reading, Judith and Holofernes. Man mocked by two women, La Leucadia, Fight with Cudgels. Two old ones eating soup. Pilgrimage to the Fountain of San Isidro, Witch's Sabbath. A Pilgrimage to San Isidro, Asmodea. Atropos. And of course, let's return to Satan Devouring His Son. We will never know what Goya wanted to say, if anything, with this piece. Now we can only admire it and interpret the meaning ourselves. For me, it's the eyes. The eyes of a man who is lost and afraid. Eyes of a man terrified by his actions, but so far gone that he can't stop. He grips his son's body so tightly that instead of his knuckles turning white, his fingers sink into the body, painting his fingers red. The boy is dead. It's just a limp piece of flesh. But Saturn must go on. At first sight, it frightens you, terrifies you. But the more you look, the more you stare into those eyes, the mouth opens so wide in almost a terrified manner. Sadness and pity overtake the fear. A man who has lost everything, including himself, continues to devour a corpse of his own flesh and blood. Saturn looks disheveled, old, crooked, destined to only decay. He consumes the young and strong, the ones with the future. To me, it seems like Goya is portraying how the old man, who represents the old, the times filled with war, views of the past that shouldn't come back, never dies, but continues to consume the possible future, the young, the son who is supposed to overthrow him. We live in a world that can't escape its old nature of violence no matter what. The young, who could be better, who could be peaceful, who could be different, are devoured by the violent, hungry, out of control old. Those eyes. Saturn doesn't want it, but he can't choose. He just does it. He has to do it. Like his dead son probably did before his death. Saturn fears himself. He is ashamed. Perhaps that is why he's in the dark, hiding from the eyes of bystanders as he continues to commit the shameful act he must do. Saturn is a creature I both fear and pity. Speaking of Goya and his mesmerizing 14 black paintings, I should probably mention Impasto, a free horror game from 2022 that somehow adapts most of the paintings into one cohesive world. Well, cohesive might be too strong of a word. The game is actually a student project, a collaboration between students from the University of Southern California, Otis College of Art and Design, and California State University Fullerton. Since we are here, might as well check out the game real quick. You play as Goya's grandson, Mariano Goya. Mariano receives a letter from his grandfather.
To my dear Mariano, I write to inform you that I will soon be leaving Spain behind. Know that I sail from her with a heavy heart, but the Spain I am leaving is not the one I once knew. War and sickness are everywhere. I hope you understand why I cannot bear to remain in that house. So I'm leaving it to you, the hands of the future. You must be prepared for what I have left you. It will be hard to understand, and at times it may even frighten you. Signed, with love, Goya, a su nieto.
Mariano arrives at the Quinta de Sordo. It's dark, abandoned and quiet. Inside he finds a doctor's letter.
To the true court painter, Francisco de Goya, I must speak to you now as both your personal physician and a friend, which is why this letter is being penned with the heaviest of hearts. I know you must seek relief from your inexplicable deafness, but it is a relief that medicine simply cannot provide. I will pray for your health, and that the hardship you have suffered does not wrap your wondrous imagination. If your hearing is to ever return, it will be the Lord who grants you it, not I. With best wishes and warm regards, Ignacio Garcia Areta.
A strange sound fills Mariano's ears. He turns to see something dark on the wall. It's a painting. As he turns, he sees paintings all over him, sounds coming from each one. He looks at the painting of a giant man devouring a body. Mariana goes upstairs, more paintings covering the walls. The last spot on the wall isn't a painting. It's too big and it's moving. It looks inviting. Mariana comes closer and steps through it. He is no longer in the house. The darkness of the night surrounds him. A huge gate is in front of him, and that is the only way to move forward. Nothing is behind him. He moves towards the gate. A quiet town lies before him. Everything is dark, with the occasional flicker of fire in the distance as a figure dressed in black moves quickly. Mariana finds a house with an open door and bravely enters. Inside are the old men from the painting he saw.
This one looks familiar.
Child, name yourself.
Mariano Goya. Oh, we know you, boy. Grandson of the great Francisco de Goya, and a smear upon his legacy. A gambler, a drunkard, and a disappointment.
Are you here to make amends, or pick his bones dry?
Shame the way he sees you. Everything but what you truly are. This is Zaragoza, your grandfather's home woven into the paint, and it stands at the brink of collapse. The town portends the dusk, the coming of calamity.
So the boy wishes to leave.
That is much easier said than done. But perhaps. Very well, child. If you wish to leave Zaragoza, then seek out the blind man on the edge of town.
Zaragoza is the name of this place. A place created by his grandfather. A world of painting that has been corrupted. He must escape. He must find the musician. While Mariano is walking up the hill, let me take a second to talk about the game's visuals. Oh god, the environments look amazing. The style looks beautiful for a game, and the models, almost all of them, here's one that we'll see later that looks kind of bad, looks so nice in this style. The students have really outdone themselves. Up on the hill we meet a blind guitarist.
Come, won't you sit with me? 'Twould be a shame to enjoy these stars alone. Here, let me play you a song from her past. It'd do you more good to hear for yourself. Unfortunately, I know only fragments, and the rest is lost upon sheets scattered throughout the town. I believe the first sheet still roams around the town, evading all who seek it. It shan't be easy, and the Inquisition is sure to dog your every step. But know one thing for certain, if you bring me music, I can always play.
He tells us about Zaragoza and gives us a mission. Find a sheet of music. Sounds easy. And here we are introduced to the gameplay. A simple stealth horror game. Except that, unlike some lesser games, Outlast, you're not hiding in a locker, but in a barrel, which has predetermined holes, points of view, so what you see is very limited. I didn't think you could make hiding in a place interesting again, but this is quite cool and gives the developers the ability to control what and how the player sees more clearly. Anyway, after letting the angry priests pass, we continue up the street into the sewers. After a bit of leaning and walking past a presumably blind priest, we end up next to a sheet of music. When we try to grab it, it runs away. Just like the sheet music collectibles in Assassin's Creed 4. The Black Flag. Damn, that was a good game. As we chase it, we come to the first, more difficult stealth section. You have to run quickly to the first curve of the bridge and hide there. Because if you wait here, the priest will see you and probably beat you to death with a torch. So run, and with the small hole you have to guess when the coast is clear. Don't go out too early, or this will happen. While having guessed the right time, Mariano continues to follow the sheet. What follows is a small parkour chase. The chase ends in a house, where after some nice wind magic, reminiscent of Harry Potter's letter fiasco, Mariano gets the sheet. Time to return to the guitarist.
Ah, you've returned. And by that sound of rustling paper, it seems you were able to chase down the sheet. I fear that this sheet alone is not quite enough, and I must ask you to retrieve a second. Yet we may still be in luck, for I know a woman in town who may know a way to sneak you in.
Okay, I think we need another one. No problem. And who is this nice lady?
Those masked fools have not known peace since you arrived, grandson of Goya. A barrel wagon runs in and out of the district carrying supplies. That's your way into their domain. The melody you seek lies within a vault hidden beneath the cathedral, built to bury what those cowards cannot simply turn to ash.
Well, the task seems easy enough. After some more sneaking around, we end up in a battle Uber. The next area, the church, is quite simple, even though it's full of priests. A bit of running here, a bit of hiding under the gallows here, and we are in the graveyard. Here we find ourselves with a puzzle that you might see in a Wii game. But it's not difficult. A little elbow grease and the door opens. Mariano gets the second sheet and returns to the guitarist.
Tell me this is no dream. Zaragoza, free at last.
As he plays the whole melody, the big door behind him fully opens.
His affliction was a tragedy, one to which I can too wholly relate. A painter robbed of his ears, and a musician robbed of his sight. What a pair we made.
And we step inside. Ah, finally out. Or so we thought. Mariano is in a dark cave. As he goes deeper, a sound echoes. Satan looks at you as he devours his child. Run. He also follows Mariano to the other area where he begins to wander. Remember how I mentioned that one of the models didn't look so good? Yeah, here it is. Don't get me wrong, in the right darkness, when you don't really see his movements that well, Saturn looks terrifying. But most of the time, when the light hits and you can see his moonwalking animation, he just looks janky and silly. Anyway, after a simple stealth section, Mariana makes it to a new room, Saturn's throne.
You've seen my sin, how I tore my own son apart. Leave now, before my temper once more gets the better of me. You seek to know what happened. 'Tis what always happens, child. I grew old and weak. My son hovered like a vulture, waiting to pick my carcass clean. I knew I had no choice, that he would turn against me. Yet even now, I hear him beg me to stop. 'Tis this cave that broke me, this never-ending solitude. Alone with my thoughts, I felt my reason turn to dust. Perhaps, in the end, trapped in a darkened villa, your grandfather felt the same. Walk tall, son of Goya, for I believe you have proved him right.
Mariano leaves and finds himself back in Puente de Sorda. Having understood his grandfather and himself better after this journey, Mariano says goodbye, and the game ends. Okay, where were we before that little detour? Right, Shiver. We just escaped the mine, and we're about to enter the radio room. Let's do that then. Inside we find some fireworks, and the promised radio with a message.
Josh, what the hell did you do with the emergency call signs book for the radio?
Oh yes, the torn book. We can deduce that this is probably the code, and with some fiddling, we get the right frequency.
Hello, Josh? Is that you? You're not coming through. Light a flare by the highway so Al can locate you. Over.
Shadow stands outside the door. A creature, a beast of nightmares, flashes before us. We have to run. Now. We have to get out. We have to get to the highway where we fell. The highest place in this land to send a signal. The mole beast is already there. We must distract it. I know. The firecrackers. We put them out on a wrecked car, light them, and run. Phew. The coast is clear. Quickly, we call for help.
Holy, are you alright, son?
It's me, fucking Al.
We wake up in our father's old people's home. Safe and cozy, we made it out alive. So, I think there are two possibilities. Either the sinkhole was caused by, or awakened, the mole creature, which started manipulating Josh. It would explain Josh's story about missing miners, and Josh's weird behavior. He was feeding the beast, sabotaging the visitor center, so if tragedy happened, nobody could escape. But in the end, together with the two tourists, and judging by the vests even more, he got eaten. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is that Josh is the mole man. The sinkhole, specifically that weird red glow, transformed him into the beast. He ate the two tourists and had plans to eat the others, but everyone left because of his sabotage, so he stayed here, starving until we came. That is my theory. Again, speaking about feeling cozy in our father's retirement home, the Steam page of Shiver mentions that it is a spiritual successor to a game called Cozy. So how about we check that out too? You know, since we are here and we already went on a little side thing with Goya, we might as well see what's this all about. Similarly, we start the game driving in snowy weather. Only this time, we are here for our uncle. We reached this house without any problems. I locked the door with the oldest trick in the book. A key hidden near the door. The house is quiet. Just the sound of the fireplace echoing around the house. The kitchen is empty. And so is the bedroom. Why is this room boarded up? Let's try to look inside. Oh, God. He's dead. He killed himself. Why? And who barricaded the door? Let's just leave and call the police. Our car is snowed in. How could this happen in the few minutes while we were gone? Let's go back and try get a shovel. The garage is icy. So, we get a glass from the kitchen, put some snow in it, let it boil by the fireplace, and now we have the perfect tool to unfreeze any lock. Inside we find some lighter fluid and a shovel. Nice. Under all the snow, the car door is smashed in and was open. Shit. Okay, surely Uncle has a crowbar somewhere. Well, there is this dark room. Maybe here? But first we need a light source. Let's take the hammer and unnail the planks. Hi, Uncle. Hope you don't mind. I'm just here to get some bandages. Thank you. Don't mind me. We put the bandages on the wooden stick, covered it with lighter fluid, and now we have a nice little torch. Let's see what's in the black room. Oh, a crowbar. Perfect. Let's get out of here. Where are my keys? Did I leave them inside? Maybe I did. It has gotten quite dark. Yeah, not in the kitchen or the bedroom. Maybe they were dropped in this room. Huh? Where's Uncle? Where is his body? Let's just go. Now. Huh? Why are our keys in the extinguished fireplace? Let's not ask questions. Let's just go. And that brings us to the end. Instead of one short horror game, I accidentally showed you 3. Oopsies. I'm a bit of an overachiever, I guess. Have a good rest of your day. Check out my other videos, my second channel, or my Twitch. Check out the description for the people that lent me their voices for the video too. Big thanks to Lily, Simon, and Cuttlet. See y'all next time.